it's possible to be business-minded and successful and keep your eye on the prize and have fun and still be young. It's possible to wear a tight dress and heels or whatever else you feel sexy and comfortable in and still close a business deal. They are not things that you have to pick and choose.
Hello and welcome to the Process Podcast. I don't do intro bits. The intro bit is me not doing an intro bit, but what I do is I bring you really, really good guests, and today's guest is the one and only Emy.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing today, Emy?
I am fucking tired, but happy to be here. You know, I run on caffeine and neurodivergence.
Yeah.
Every single day of my life. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh yes, because you normally work stupid hours, but this is also now the week where you have been to Paris very quickly and then came back to help with an event you were running, and now come do this as well. It's fine. You've got the time to do it.
Look, I genuinely, I have these moments recently a lot where I really have to stop myself and take it all in, because I've been doing this sort of for 4 years, but never to this extent, in a sense of, I always say this, I was actually speaking to my mother about this the other day. This is the most exhausted but happiest I've ever been in my life. And I think it's because I've finally given myself permission to do everything that I want. Because I think it's very easy to let people tell you that, or at least I was raised with this idea that you can't do it all. You know, you have to pick your lane, pick your lane. And I've sort of radically committed to not doing that.
No, I feel you for that. Like I was working a full-time job up until like December, January time, and I was doing all my shit on top of that. And whilst I was doing it, it's like, this is fine, this is fun. Now that I've just gone pure freelance, it's like, oh, I was tired. I did not realize how burnt out I was. And now I've got time to like slow down, but also like in slowing down, I've also said yes to a lot of things. It's like, I'm doing the things that I really enjoy. So like, this is all fun stuff. And the burnout is different in that like, yeah, but I actually enjoy this. Whereas like at work, it's like, oh no, this was bad for me. Yeah,
of course. But I think that's the thing people sometimes don't understand. It's not necessarily about the amount that you work. We all have 24 hours a day. The big crucial difference is whether or not you enjoy doing what you're doing. Yeah. Because the burnout part essentially comes from not being happy doing what you're doing, right?
Oh, for sure.
Or the reason people get overwhelmed, or the reason I would get overwhelmed in the past, is because, you know, my mind would be like, oh, I need to do this. I don't really want to do this. I'd much rather be doing that. And I'm committed to also doing that, but now I have to do it on top of the stuff I don't want to do.
Yes.
And I think, don't get me wrong, you know, I don't want to idealize this too much. There's also parts of, I'm sure, your job and parts of my job, certainly, that I enjoy less than others.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, you know, I don't think anyone can, in good conscience, say that they love every single thing that they do at all times. Yeah. But I do find that there is a really, really, really massive difference that I see within my levels of energy doing things that I love and being able to be surrounded by people that inspire me. And also maybe having the guts to really say no to the things I don't want to do.
Yes.
Which is something that I think is very, very frowned upon in the creative industries, especially when you're relatively young, because people want you to say yes to absolutely everything. Usually based out of desperation, where they go, well, you're lucky to even be here. Yeah. Do it for free. You know, like, you're lucky to even have a seat at the table, which is, I mean, we can get into that more later if you want, but I think that's one of the reasons I really, really became quite militant as an agent, because I realized that there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to advocate for themselves because they've never been taught that their work is worth something. And that they should like basically accept crumbs and say that and see that as, you know, the maximum they can get, just because they should be so lucky. which is a really big problem in this industry.
No, I was always very fortunate in my position because I was working that full-time job. I had an income coming in.
Yeah.
So whenever I was doing like stuff on top of it, it's like I can decide to do the things that I think are fun because I've already got like. Yeah. Because obviously, especially, I mean, I understand the idea that like when your rent is dependent on the amount of jobs you do, there is an element of like, not that you can't say no, but like, but I need to get a certain amount coming in each month. So there's only so much, not morality, but like there was a line for like where you can and can't say no to stuff. But like, because I had the full-time job coming in, it's like I can be a lot more in the, I don't agree with this and I can choose to say no because I've got the financial security. Like financial security is annoyingly a big part of that as well. And like, I don't envy people that have to go for that thing of like, I don't like this company,
but I have to,
but I need money because I've not got any jobs coming in this month.
Yeah.
So where it's a whole thing. But before we get into the full work thing, the way I like to start these podcasts is going into how we first met.
Yes.
And I always find this fascinating too, because one, I've realised more and more times how either A, I'm a bitch, or B, I'm oblivious to when I first met people.
I think the first time that, I could be completely wrong, was presumably at Spitz.
That's what I'm assuming, yeah.
And you were already doing the videography for it. And I mean, I joined Spit maybe like 2 or 3 months into it starting. And Danny brought me on and I started helping out and then more and more and more. But I believe we met just sort of organically as you were running around setting up the camera. And I probably came up to you and said, "Hello, darling.
Yes.
How are you?" And I mean, you know, you didn't give me an unfriendly impression ever. But again, I cannot read people at all, which is a blessing and a curse. And we can get into that later as well. Is I've come to realize that a lot of my ability to be so persistent as an agent and a producer is that I can't tell when people hate me.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big, big thing for a lot of people. You know, you go into a room, you start doing a little pitch or you start speaking to people and a lot of people get very, very self-conscious because they realize, oh God, these people don't want to be here. Yeah. Or someone gave me a weird look. I have a complete inability to do that, which is lovely. Because it just means that I keep going.
No, so as I've been doing this, what many people have told me, because most of the people I've met at poetry nights, is I can be very expressive at poetry nights. Not like I'm not going to be loud and reactive, but like my face betrays me, if you will. And I have been very judgmental at some people's poems the first time I've met them, especially an open mic when they're trying out something new and it's like, oh, okay, we're doing that. And like that's happened a couple of times with me, but like it's never been like I dislike this person. It's been this is a new take and I will have that as a first impression. And it's like, I want to be more neutral and start off on a better footing kind of thing. I think the thing for me as well, and I have to remind myself, especially at Spit nowadays as well, there's always that balance between it's people I know and this is fun to meet people, but also I'm kind of working as well, is the balance of it all, that thing of like, because I had Celine on the podcast the other month and like she was talking about the first time she met me and it was at Spit, but like I thought the first time I met her was at the Slam when she performed, but actually she was there like the month beforehand and she was and like I was taking pictures and she came up to me and like, that's my picture on the wall, and I kind of like just no-sold it because I was in like taking pictures mode, so didn't pay attention, and it's like, oh yeah, no, because that was a bit of a not bitchy moment for me, but like, okay, I thought the first time was this time, not that time. Okay, no, first time was when Tywin was in work mode kind of thing, and that happens, I think, a little bit too much for me.
Well, it's interesting again because I find that people, I mean, would you say that you are not what people expect you to be? Because I find that quite a lot. People seem to have this impression of me before they meet me, and then I speak to them, and they're like, "Oh, you're actually really nice." And then I usually go, "What do you mean I'm actually really nice? I am nice." Like, "Oh no, but you just have this. You exude this bitchy energy."
Oh, I have the exact opposite.
You think people think you're really nice and then you talk to them and they're like, whoa.
a lot.
What is this?
Like, because obviously I do a lot of hosting and behind the camera stuff. A lot of people see me being like very helpful to the scene, and I'm not saying that I'm not helpful.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm looking at one-on-one setting people, it's like, oh, Tyrone's shady and bitchy. Oh, Tyrone has opinions, and it's like, yeah, I don't say them to everyone all the time. But when I'm not comfortable with being like, when I've got the not chance to, but like, I'm not going to say it on a stage what I think of someone, but if we're sitting down having a drink, yeah, I might say some things, and I have opinions on people, and like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know I've got a lot of opinions on people at this stage.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, this is also, I guess, quite an interesting take, because I'm the complete opposite of you in a sense of I say everything that I think about everything all the time. Not because I choose to, but just because I can't not say it. But again, I used to see it as a negative thing.
Yeah.
You know, it used to bring me a lot of anxiety because I used to be like, oh my God, like people are going to hate me. But I actually have come to see it as a strength, because being as open as I am, I think makes people very comfortable around me, because they know where they stand.
Yeah.
They know I'm not playing games. And it's actually something I've really learned to appreciate, because it just means that there's not this weird barrier between me and the people that I work with or that I'm friends with. There's no time, a lot of the time, for all of this beating around the bush, which, to be honest, is also very cultural. As someone who did not grow up in the UK, I've got to say the combination of autism and being German has really, I mean, double whammy.
Yeah.
I came to the UK when I was 18, and being me, I very much learned the hard way that people here never say what they mean.
Right. So one of my exes was German, and it was that wonderful thing of like, oh no, you were going to tell me exactly what you think, and that's kind of really refreshing to hear sometimes. And like, I think I can be good with that kind of stuff. Like, obviously the thing of like, you don't want to be like as much as honesty is the best policy, you don't want to be like overtly honest, because I think there's definitely limits to that. But like, yeah, like I'm not going to go up to someone and look you in the face and go, I do not like you kind of thing. I'm not going to do kind of stuff like that kind of thing. But like, be honest. And when I was dating my German ex, it was like, this is refreshing. And like, I've been with so many people that don't tell me things, and if you're upset, you're going to tell me you're upset. This is good. We can work from this.
People act, right? Like, and I think, again, especially in the work context, and especially in the creative industries, be it poetry, be it film, be it photography, which are all realms that we navigate, not saying something or not being honest about something that clearly matters.
Yeah.
As I disagree with you on this thing, or you've upset me, or whatever, it's going to come out in a certain way.
Yeah.
I think if you don't say it, if you don't have a proper conversation about it, it runs the risk to come out passive aggressively, which then in turn the other people will interpret usually worse.
Yeah.
You know, like I find a lot of the time if you don't say, oh, actually, I didn't like the way you said that, people will gather that you're passive aggressively mad at them, but then they'll assume the worst and they'll think, oh my God, this person hates me. No. I don't hate you. I just didn't appreciate the way you phrased the specific thing in the meeting or whatever, you know?
And like, it's also as well, like, I'd like to think like one of the inner thing that I feel like I'm comfortable with myself, and that if someone says something like to me, like I am in the state space when I was like, I'm not going to be defensive about that and go, well, I think it was fine. But it's like, no, if you didn't like that, you didn't like that. I may have thought it was okay, but if you didn't, I understand that, and I'm not going to do that with you again, kind of thing. And like, that's always been my thing with so much of this stuff of like, people will have their specific way of doing things, wanting to do things, and like, if you are not comfortable with a thing, please tell me. I will adjust it, even if I think I'm in the right. If it's going to upset you for whatever reason, like I'm not going to be on, like obviously it depends exactly what it is, but for the most part, it's like, I'm not going to be like, but I thought I was right, so I'm still going to do it anyway. And it's like, no, fine. If it annoys you, don't want to keep annoying you, kind of thing.
I mean, I completely agree, and I think. Actually, we can segue this into ego.
Ooh.
This is a very. Listen, everyone. There's a lot of ego in this industry.
Yes.
And understandably so, right? It's very much driven by people having to back themselves, right? You know, if you don't think that you're the shit, how do you expect anyone else to think that you are? But it is definitely something that can be quite tricky to navigate if you break into the industry. And I think obviously I'm on one side of it where I deal with the talent. You know, I obviously started out looking after photographers and directors, then went to actors, and now I'm back with photographers, directors, and now recently also poets. I think I've learned very quickly that, I mean, I'm going to have to navigate people's egos regardless, right? I can't, you know, I can't tell people not to be the way that they are. There's no point, you know. It's not my job to change people, but I think I can control myself and how I react to things. And I've come to realize as well, and I don't know if you read that LBB article that I wrote, but I wrote a little bit about that and that as well. I think having the willingness to be wrong and the willingness to say, actually, yeah, I don't know this, or I messed up, or, you know, maybe let's do it your way, is probably one of the most valuable things that I've learned. And I think also not equating being wrong with being bad.
Yeah.
You know? I say because, you know, bad is a very broad term. I'm not a saint in any way, nor do I want to be. You know, I think if anyone that's listening has been to therapy, you learn very quickly to deal with your shadow self, with your good and bad sides, your pros and cons. And again, I think it's important to embrace that rather than push it away. But I think it's really important to not take being wrong or messing up or falling flat on your face as a reflection of your value as a human being or as a coworker or as a creative, because it will happen a lot, whether or not you want it to. And I think the quicker you learn how to deal with it, the quicker you learn how to deal with rejection, with negative feedback, which a lot of the time can also be right, you know?
Yeah.
It's not people just being mean. Like a lot of the time sometimes people are crude in a way or cruel in the way that they deliver it. And that's also something I think, you know, I can maybe say something, one or two things about, because I have to give people a lot of feedback. Yeah. You know, I go to a lot of clients and present my talent's work. I then have to go back to my talent and go, actually, they didn't like this. And being able to deliver that in an honest way, but graciously, is also something that you have to acquire. You know, I don't think, you know, again, as someone who's very direct, I can sometimes be a bit insensitive to how people are going to receive it. Because again, as a creative, you see your work as an extension of yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like,
right. So, you know, if I go, oh, actually, they didn't like that, a lot of people will take that as they don't like you.
Like,
which is not true.
It's one of the things when I was as I was kind of growing as a creative, etc. Like one of the reasons why I've never properly looked to do poetry as like a full-time thing or anything like that. I'm not saying it was offered to me and I turned it down kind of thing, but like I never looked into it further in that thing of like, I like this as a form of expression. I don't want to start making money of it. And I know myself enough that when people start saying, actually, I don't like this and that, it's like, I will take that bit a little bit too personally. I know this of myself. Whereas like doing the camera stuff and photography stuff, whilst there was still creativity to that, there's also some more technical things and some more right and wrong things. I know for me personally, it's like, I can deal with feedback on that a lot more comfortably and a lot more healthy for my own sake than I kind of like full-on creative feedback, especially with something like poetry, when like my heart and soul is into here and you're like, cool, but you don't like it, and it's like, oh. Whereas like camera stuff, it's like that shot's a bit overexposed or whatever. It's like, no, yeah, no, I did a bad thing there, that was wrong, I can deal with that easier. But to go into like your work stuff as well, as we go into now our timelines section. how you talked about it very briefly, like working with photographers at the start. Like, what got you into this whole creative field, and especially like being like the person helping these creators? Like, what kind of was the start of it for you, and like balancing that as well, obviously, with the fact that you yourself are a creative. So, like, what was your beginning to all of this?
It's quite interesting because I like to preface this by saying I don't come from a creative background at all. My parents are not creative people. Bless them. They are very entrepreneurial. They taught me a lot of things about, which I learned to appreciate a lot later in life, which helps me a lot now. The one thing my parents did teach me is advocating for yourself and backing yourself and believing that you can do it. It's something I never really saw as an asset until I really started working full-time in the industry. Because, like I previously said, I think a lot of people get taken advantage of, get underpaid, or not paid at all. And that's because no one ever teaches you how to negotiate, how to advocate for yourself, how to read contracts. And I've got to say, I'm having parents that are not creative, but very much have built businesses, have these very sort of mathematical, technological brains, has really helped. But to answer your question, how did I get into it? Well, so I grew up in Germany, in a French-German household. And I learned to speak English maybe, the same way that people here start learning French or German, it's like, we can have a whole different section on how I feel about the educational system and the way it approaches creativity and languages. But, that's for another day. I learned how to speak English, and I got really into literature. So much so that I decided to study English Lit, which is what brought me to London. Funnily, I don't know if I ever told you this. So it was very, very academic as a teenager. But I was a bit of a weird kid. I was very sort of goth, very much liked keeping to myself, and was very into history, very into languages even then. And I had a really, really bad time. And I had a lot of substance abuse issues. I spent the last year of my high school career in and out of hospital. I was inpatient for a while. So I really didn't have the best time. And I think, I'd sort of really worked very, very hard. I was one of those, gifted kids, as they call them, where everyone tells you, you're going to be great. Which in itself, I think, should not be done, because I think it as a child, I think it puts a lot of pressure on you. But anyways, I applied for lots of universities. I knew I wanted to do English Lit. I got into Cambridge, which, I was very happy about. And then it sort of hit the summer before, and I'd spent, the year in and out of hospital, and I was very ill. And I sort of remember having this call with my head teacher at the time, who was this wonderful, wonderful lady called Miss de Merdache. She was just one of the most brilliant people I've ever met to this day. And generally one of the reasons why I'm even in the UK, her and Mr. Morvany, they were both of my English teachers. And very, very encouraging people. It's always the English teachers for some reason, isn't it? Like English teachers or history teachers, or cinema teachers.
My media studies teacher was the one that properly not pushed
really
me in this
pushed
path,
you,
but that was the one like, oh no, this all clicks now. This is what works. Yeah.
I think it's also really important to have those people in your life.
Yeah.
Mr. Fernandez was my cinema teacher. Still is, generally one of the reasons why I got really into film. So, teachers do have a big impact on your life, I think, if they do. I mean, good or bad. And I spent a lot of time at school. But yeah, I had a call with her, and I remember I sort of was very much on the cusp of like, okay, do I push for Cambridge? I'd sort of slightly missed my grades by maybe like half a point or something. And which is miraculous given that I didn't spend a day in school in that last year, really, at least not the second half. And I remember, her telling me like, look, it's not a problem. We can just give them an extenuating circumstances situation, which was obviously very much the case. And I remember just thinking, this feels really wrong. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she was actually really supportive. I was very scared because I thought, oh my God, I've worked so hard to do this. But I kind of think I intuitively knew that it was going to it wasn't gonna be good for me. And I think it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And then, ended up going to King's in London. Spent 3 years basically just going to university and not really socializing. I was very recluse in a way. But that's when I met probably today the most important person in my life, who is my best friend Nikita, who you have yet to meet. But she is an incredible creative director and musician. And I was 18 when I met her. I met her because I saw her on Instagram and I thought she was fantastic. I loved her take on the industry. She's always been very vocal about the good and the bad sides, and sort of behind the scenes of it all. And I emailed her. And I said, look, I think you're fantastic. Please, like, I need to meet you. And she was like, yeah, okay, let's go for coffee. And she's really the person that's started bringing me to places. She'd bring me to PR events, and she's a bit older than me. So she's 8 years older than me. So she was very much like a big sister to me, still is. And I never had that. I'm the oldest of 5. I never had anyone tell me how to do things. I always just had to kind of figure it out on my own. And she was really the person who started really pushing me in that direction, going, hey, like, you can do it. Because at that point I already knew, I'm interested in it, but I had absolutely no idea how to break into that industry at all. I had no family connections, no friends that were doing it. I was the only person that I knew that was in London, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And she's not only the person that really sparked my interest, but also really, really made me believe like you can do it. And she always was this cheerleader, still to this day is very much my biggest cheerleader. I finished university. I worked in finance for a year, which was a very interesting experience. Not because I was interested in finance, but because I sort of thought, okay, I want to break into the creative industries. I'm going to need money to do that. So I sort out the best paid job I could get. And also kind of thought it might be good to learn a thing or two.
Have some other skills as well.
Have some skills that you learn when you work in a very regimented, fast-paced environment. It was also my first encounter, really, with really, really toxic men in the work environments, and very much introduced me to what abuse of power looks like, which is obviously something that is very prevalent in the creative industries as well. More so than anywhere else, if I dare say. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about boundaries. It taught me a lot about what I didn't want. And I sort of left there going, okay, we're never doing that again. But it did teach me a lot about, the structure of how business works, and, people always talk about, it's all about who you know and, word of mouth. And I agree. But funnily enough, my actual breaking into the industry was very much me just applying for things and smashing the interviews, and just turning up with a good, I guess, academic record and being like, I'm good, take me, give me a chance. And that's how I got my first job as a junior agent for a big photographer, and worked there for about a year and a half. Enjoyed myself a lot in some ways, but also learned a lot about, again, what qualities I definitely did not appreciate / didn't want to accept, which again is something that is very hard to do when you're young and when you're a woman, because everyone tells you plainly, you're the shit on someone's shoe. Just deal with it. And I think that's when I really learned how to start advocating for myself and to go like, no, I actually really, really don't want to be treated this way. And I had a very, very amazing female boss there, who's an American woman called Chelsea, who is just phenomenal. Like, she taught me a lot about agenting, actually probably, all the basics, and how to be very, very focused and sort of really go for what you want whilst also remaining kind. Because again, that's something that people seem to not be able to marry in a way. Yeah. I think it's always this either or kind of situation, which again, no, it's not true. You don't have to be like, it's something, and not to go off on a massive tangent, but it's something that is really, really important to me. And that's why I'm so radical about pushing that. It is possible to be really, really successful and not be a dick.
Yes.
It's possible to be business-minded and successful and keep your eye on the prize and have fun and still be young. It's possible to wear a tight dress and heels or whatever else you feel sexy and comfortable in and still close a business deal. They are not things that you have to pick and choose. And I think, especially as a woman, you will consequently always be told that you have to choose. Make yourself more masculine, or you're not allowed to embrace your femininity. Or if you do, well, be prepared to deal with people looking down on you, X, Y, Z. I am such a big advocate for very much just refusing that. Like, it might sound quite radical, but I've just completely committed to refusing to play into that. And don't get me wrong, I get shit for it, I get shit for being as vocal as I am. I get shit for being a sort of flirty, loud person, woman, thing. But I think it's really important.
It's the whole idea of the whole respectability politics and all that kind of stuff, where it's like, just because something, like, I have a whole issue with the whole respectability politics in life, in that thing of like, even if I'm making a good point, if I'm making it angrily, suddenly my point is invalid. And it's like, that shouldn't be the thing. And it goes into that thing like, just because I'm dressed this way, whatever I'm saying now means nothing. It's like, no, like, the way I'm dressed, the way the volume of the voice should not be the thing that matters. Like, the point, ultimately, at the end of the day, am I right or am I wrong? Is this the good thing to do or not good thing to do? Like, that should be all it's about. Stop bringing these other factors in. Like, so you were right, but you didn't look the right way, and therefore it's not the right thing. It's like, that shouldn't be the thing that, like, it's one thing if, for example, and I'm not making it necessarily good, but it's one thing if, like, two people have had very, very good arguments and said some very, very good points, therefore you have to separate between two people, then you start going to different minutiae in that side of it. So I don't like that, but I understand that more so. But, like, to instantly disqualify someone because of the way they look, the way they're acting, etc., is just like, no, it's because, like, I'm still right, or this point makes sense, or you're doing something bad here. Just because I'm acting this way doesn't invalidate that.
But also, I mean, I completely agree. But also, the reason I'm so radical about it is because there is a massive double standard there.
Oh, yeah.
work, obviously, when we both work in an industry that, is getting more and more. I mean, I think in terms of the actual workforce, it's 50-50, men and women.
Yeah.
But in terms of the people in power positions, it's still very male dominated. I have never once seen a man get shit for being a bit, flirtatious, being well dressed.
It's encouraged, it's joked about. It's
People
all that
go, oh my God,
stuff.
you're a heartthrob.
Yeah.
Silver fox.
You're
determined.
He's playful, he's charismatic,
You're just playful. Exactly. You just know how to play your charm up. If I do that as a woman, the immediate assumption is I don't take myself seriously. Why? Because people have a really, really hard time, not necessarily understanding, I think they understand it, but accepting that a woman can be more than one thing.
Yes.
And that it's a choice that you make. It's not, I back myself. I'm intelligent. I've proven, I think, more than enough that I'm capable of doing my job and going beyond that as well. But it's taken me a very long time to stop demonizing my personality and to stop aiming to make myself as small and as quiet as possible. And I think I was having a conversation with a friend about this the other day. I think what's so bizarre about being in this industry is that, and that's just an observation I've made, it might be a hot take, I don't know. But as a man, the further you advance in your creative career or career in the creative industries, let's take everyone into account, right? Not just the creatives, even agents, producers, whatever. The higher you go, the more immune you become, right? The higher you go, the more people go, okay, they let you off easier.
Yeah.
As a woman, it's the other way around. The lower in the food chain you are, the less of a threat you are.
Yeah.
The less people care. People will just go, whatever. The higher you go, the more power you have, the more decision-making power you have, the more people look at you, the more people will try and tear you down. And that immunity does not apply to you. And I think that's very interesting. Because this is an industry where people love to shout about we're equal, it's the work that counts, No, it's not. It's absolutely not. And I've seen it, and I've been on a lot of sets in my life. And before I, became a full-time agent, I was a production assistant. I spent a lot of time on sets. Even now, I spend a lot of time, looking at people more than anything else and observing. And it is something I see a lot, and it's something that I experience, but also that I see a lot of other people experience. And I think it's going to take a long time for that to change. But I've also committed to being, even if that puts me in the crossfire, and to being someone that just completely goes ham.
Like, it's that wonderfully awful thing where this is, again, we still have so much to go, but this is what progress is so far. Things have gotten better. And this is the better stage of things. It's like, this like the fact that this is what better is, like, that's not good if this is how far we've had to come and we've still got so much more to go. But like, I guess now, so I often do like my timeline section and my let's talk about section, and timelines often go into like present and future, but I think for the let's talk about section, we're going to be doing that anyway, so might as well just say let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it.
Creatives, and I think people are more familiar with agents, but like a lot of people that I know that I've invited onto this podcast, whether they be poets, comedians, etc., not all of them have agents or are familiar with agents. Only a couple of people are, and even then it's often the ones that are like more theatre focused and like therefore to get agents in that sense, or like literary and I properly like, and I say properly published, I've got so many friends that are published that don't have agents. So
yeah, but it's hard.
Yeah, like
yeah, let's get into it.
So, what is your job like at the moment? What is it being an agent now?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, again, sort of because we spoke a little bit about how I got into it, I wasn't aware that this job existed until I sort of was scrolling through the depth of the internet looking for a job, you know? I was sort of vaguely aware of it for maybe actors or whatever, but I didn't realize that it was such a big thing. And it is a very, very big part of the industry, right? With a sort of intermediate link between the clients and the talent.
Yeah.
What does my job look like? So obviously I have my job where I work at a production company, and I'm the talent agent there, and I look after photographers and directors on that end. And then obviously I founded Mother Mayhem, which is my own little agency where I look after spoken word poets, which is coming very soon. It's the website's going live in 2 weeks. It's very exciting.
I mean, knowing me, the website will probably be live by the time this comes out.
Yes, exactly. So go online, have a little cheeky look at Mother Mayhem Management. Shameless self-plug. Okay. Here's the thing. I think the ask of creatives or the pressure that's being put on creatives has dramatically increased in the last couple of years. It's never just been you have to do the actual work itself, but I think more than ever, there is this overwhelming ask of people that, do your creative job, as in be that painting, photography, acting, whatever, poetry, but also be your own social media manager, be your own accountant, be your lawyer, be your business manager, be your own agent. How the hell can one person do that? I mean, clearly people do that, but you shouldn't have to.
Yes.
And you also can't do it effectively for long periods of time because it's exhausting.
Especially on your own.
On your own. And I think I sort of really, really fell in love with agenting over the last couple of years because it made me realize, I think, I started off very much being on stage and, I was doing spoken word poetry back in 2012, 2013 in Germany. And I actually realized that I enjoyed being side of stage, organizing it, making sure everything was going well and supporting the people on stage a lot more than being the person on the stage. Which is not to say that, I don't enjoy, performing here and there. I do, and that's a part of me that I really try and honor. But more than anything, I've really, really fallen in love with helping people and providing creatives with everything that they need to do a fantastic job. Be that helping them with the contracts, be it helping them get jobs by reaching out to people, be it being the point of contact for people to come to me and for me to filter out the good and the bad eggs. Also, I think something people don't realize about the advantages of having an agent is that people immediately feel like they need to be a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
I'm like a little wall of protection for them. People feel a lot less like inclined to come to you with a really, really bad offer.
Yeah.
They still will.
Oh, yeah.
They'll still lowball you. I mean, every single day of my life, but they feel less cocky about it. And also, I think the big, big difference is that people expect me to. They know it's my job. And I'm allowed to play the good cop, bad cop. If you're creative and you're going to have to be on set or on stage or intimately work with the clients, it can be a bit awkward to have to negotiate your fees, to go, actually, no, I think I'm worth triple that. Or, no, I don't like this. Or, this contract is dog shit. Whereas I, as an agent, I don't have to do that. I don't have to spend 6 hours, 10 hours 20 hours on set with you. I don't care if you don't like me.
Yeah.
In fact, I know from experience, you'll probably respect me more if I push back. Because me accepting your first offer is never, I mean, it's very much, you should never do that. Never do that. Never accept the first offer. And I think being that person for people has brought me and is bringing me a lot of joy. Because I think it is one thing to know that you're good at what you do, right? As a creative, I think, you have to have an element of, I know I'm good at this, otherwise you wouldn't do it. But having someone to be in your corner, to back you, to go, no, I will help you and I will go to war for you, I think is in a whole other level of, feeling appreciated.
And it's with so many of these things of like you were saying, the fact that we're doing so many jobs, also like, I don't have the energy to fight all the time.
No.
Like, I mean, again, especially when it comes to some of the creative stuff we're talking about, like the art form itself often can demand so much from us emotionally, physically, etc., that I'm already doing that in the creative side of things. If you don't want me to do that in the admin of it as well, etc., so I don't have that fight in me. I can't keep that up, and like, it's very much the vibe, like. Because so I've always found it an interesting one in as much as so much of I'm looking partly from a poetry viewpoint, like so much of my poetry career has been in this very grassroots nature of it. And because of it being so grassroots, it's kind of just been accepted that this is grassroots. We're not doing this professionally kind of thing. And again, especially when it comes to like your more bare bones open mics, etc., you kind of like, no one expects an agent there kind of thing, and that kind of is a space that's fine. But the more you kind of like someone to go like, cool, but I want to get beyond that, it's like, how do you do that? And like I know people that have been lucky enough to have fallen into the right thing, whether it's they've gone viral or this things have just clicked in the right time and people have asked them to do stuff, that it's worked well for them. So like I know it can happen. Like I mean, hell, I've been able to perform internationally, etc., without having an agent, but that's very much been. It's been very lucky. Kid and Nancy's got to again. He's been doing it so far for the most part without an agent. Like most of Harry Baker's stuff, at least at the start, was very much without an agent kind of thing. So you can get some foothold in it, but that is so much of it is luck there.
Yeah, and again, it's a big difference. It's you can, but you shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
and again, I think the reason why, to be honest, it's hard to get an agent. Is purely based on the fact that there's only so many people that you can look after as a person.
Yeah.
Being an agent is a lot of work. I look after, all in all, with the photographers and directors and poets, I look after about 30 people. That is a full-time job.
Yeah.
More than a full-time job.
Yeah.
That's 2 full-time jobs. And if I could, of course I'd take on like 2 or 3 times that, all the people. But, I unfortunately only have 24 hours in a day. And also I think sometimes you have to be, I don't want to say realistic, because fuck being realistic. If I'd been realistic so far, I would never have done any of the things that I'm doing.
No, but
But you have to be mindful of the fact that you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like it's not necessarily realistic or not, but there are something like these 2 things do not go together, kind of thing.
Right.
Or like
it's
these
not even. It's you can't.
Yeah,
you can't because there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of getting an agent, I mean, the reason why I wanted to start my own poetry agency is because I realized that even though this is arguably the oldest art form there is, or one of the oldest art forms, aside from painting, for a long time, it was very much, or at least in modern day times, it was very overlooked.
Yeah.
It was not really taken seriously. It was sort of seen as, quite cringy, and things like 21 Jump Street came along and everyone sort of thought, oh my God, like Jesus Christ. And I think over the last 2, 3, 4 years, sort of post-pandemic, or during the pandemic even, where stuff started being a lot more online.
Yeah.
And creatives started navigating the online spaces a lot more.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because they wanted to, but just because they had to, because there was no work anywhere else. I think, have had for a long time people like Kate Tempest and Lowell Kana, who've just really sort of managed to make this medium of spoken word and music sort of coexist and make it sound really beautiful and really cool, and it really resonated with people. And then you've had a lot more creatives come along. I think, people started noticing it more, and people started going, wait, these things kind of, resonate with me. And oh my God, like I felt like that before. And oh my God, I didn't think someone could do a poem about this topic. People sort of seem to, and this is so funny to me because it's so far from the truth, but most people I speak to, their first approach, their first encounter with poetry was at school. Reading some beautiful but also some very old school, some very boring things, and they kind of go, oh God, I hate poetry. Poetry's not for me. I don't want to read about someone's long lost love or someone's childhood home or whatever. I'm bored by it. What is this? And then they come to realize that poetry is essentially just a way of expressing whatever the hell it is that you're feeling or you want to talk about. Be it a bloody Satsuma orange or a pair of shoes that you love or your ex-boyfriend or your parents or whatever, and I think it's a really wonderful way of connecting with people from a very, very personal place. And I think what we're seeing at the moment and what we're going to see a lot more of is a lot more brands are getting interested in it. A lot more organizations get interested in it for festivals, for events, or because they're just realizing that having a direct to consumer pathway is first of all incredibly profitable because it doesn't cost them a lot of money.
Oh God, yeah. Yes.
But also it gives people, again, audiences have become smarter. No one wants to be dazzled by the smoke and mirrors anymore. People want to feel, they want to like glimpse behind the scenes. They want to feel like you care. They want to deconstruct the whole concept of it. So having a poet write something for your brand is a fantastic marketing idea.
But it's one of those things where like poetry has always been around, and like I think there's been a while now, even pre-pandemic, of people wanting to try and find a way to monetize poetry, whether it's the poets themselves or brands looking into it, and no one's found the right way. Like I know of a couple of poets that they've been either invited to or done a little bit of like, you've had them on the talent shows every now and then. And I know actually over the pandemic, there was a poet that won America's Got Talent. So like they were slowly thinking like, it's been around, we know it's there, can we put it into there, kind of thing. And like before the pandemic, there was a whole group of poets that were used for like nationwide TV adverts, and that was a whole thing at the time, but it was very much a small group of poets. There was that one campaign, and that was kind of it. And like, I know from poets doing it, and hell yeah, I've done a couple of bit as well of like, you get maybe a one-off brand asking you to do some copywriting, which is kind of poetry, not poetry, add your poetic flair to a thing. And it's like, it's slowly getting used and people are appreciating that, but it's not been the market for it. But it does seem like it is becoming that. And I think part of that is, like you mentioned, the pandemic forced people to go online, and poets, I think that was, I keep joking about this, but it's also kind of semi-serious. One of the biggest issues I have with poetry and poets getting forward is they don't know how to fucking brand themselves. They cannot do marketing at all. And I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but like the amount of nights or things that I've seen them have the worst graphic design used to it. And it's like, ask someone to help you. Do that, like just have that little bit again, make it look like people can get into it.
It's not like, it's so interesting again, because if you're not taught that, how would you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's one of those situations where there is, and I mean, that's a whole other section, but I think the reason why I'm so vocal about it, the reason why I make such a big fuss about just being really open and honest of how I do things and why I do things, is because there is so much gatekeeping in this industry.
Yes.
So much of it is people at the top, not even top, even in the middle.
Yeah.
Having this, and in a way also understandably so, the fear of being overrun by the people below them.
Yes.
That they just go, I'm not helping you.
Yeah, and like, so...
And it's horrible because it means that you just, at the glass ceiling is not at the top. There's a glass ceiling every single step of the way that you have to break through, and no one's helping you. And I think it's a very, very isolating industry to be in.
And like, it's a balance between, because like you were saying with how like to be off stage, etc. Like I've always again, I love being on stage, it is fun, but there's a reason why I do a lot of the camera stuff. I love being the one to archive it and facilitate that kind of stuff, and it's why I really love the hosting side of it. I love doing that, and I love being that resource to people. And it's now, especially, that always been the balance of like, I want to help more people, which is why I will do, whether it's a podcast recorder, like come down, I want to try out a new photography thing, so come down and I'll try that, and that will be a completely unpaid thing because I'm trying a thing, or like I want to film some more stuff because it's fun to do that, and like it's trying to put some stuff out there. The slight balance or thing you have to do, which you kind of talked about as well with your whole Honey Puppy running, is like, I can only work with so many people, and I don't, it's also as well, it's that line as well of like, I can't work with everyone, so what is my cutoff point? Is it how close are we? Is it how good do I think you are thing? Because you can't help everyone, and almost some of that no's occasionally might be a thing of like, I want to say yes to you. If I say yes to you, then that person's going to ask, and that person's going to ask. And I don't want to say no at some point. So like for you, especially like as an agent kind of thing, how do you navigate that thing of like, I can't work with everyone, I'm going to pick/work with these people?
I think, you know what's interesting? I think it's a mixture of everything, to be honest. I think with, let's say, the poetry thing, I've sort of set from the beginning, I want this to be quite boutique, at least in the beginning, because I'm one person. There's only so much I can do. And then obviously there's the element of marketability.
Yeah.
Whether or not I think I'm going to be able to sell someone. There's people who are a lot easier to sell than others, but also, you know, for me, it's a lot about the diversity on the roster.
Yeah.
Because obviously if I have two people who are exactly the same, it's going to be a lot harder, you know? And I think, as you mentioned, it is something that's becoming more, you know, there's more brands who are becoming interested, but also a lot of it is very much going to be, and is me reaching out.
Yes.
And I think a big thing of it is, for example, also poets doing panels, going into schools, doing all that kind of stuff. Because the thing is, I see these people not only for marketable for their work, as in like the poems that they do, but also as people with opinions.
Yeah.
And I'm marketing the person, right? More than anything else.
Yeah.
And because I think they all have some really, really valuable things to say. And I think there's obviously people that I knew I wanted that I approached where I went, okay, I think you're fantastic. You're doing a really great job. I think I can make something really beautiful with you. And then I've also had some people approach me, you know? And I think with time, hopefully, as this grows, I want to take more people on. I want to have more people on the team to help me.
Yeah.
Because that will be the next step eventually, right? Not with the carriage before the horses, but I really, you know, want it to grow with time, but I want it to grow sustainably and organically.
Yes.
And I think every conversation I've had so far has been very, very frank about wanting to build this together, because that's another thing, you know, that I think is quite important to say. There is no industry standard for spoken word. There are no standard contracts.
No.
There are no standard fees.
No.
There is no union. Nothing. The reason why I was so adamant about doing this now was because it is only a matter of time until this becomes a thing. Yeah. Or it needs to become a thing. I wanted to be the first one to do it because I care about it.
Yes.
I've been in this world for over 10 years. It's important to me, and I think most poets would agree, that this is an industry that we build from within.
Yes.
You know, and because it's going grassroots to being monetized, I want to set a standard for poets that is good, that is realistic, that is something that they can, so that they can keep doing it for a long time. And I think same thing with the contracts. I think with social media and with laws changing all the time about copyrights and usage rights, unless you have really good legal knowledge or you spend a considerable amount of time looking into it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And people don't want you to know either, because it's a lot easier to put a contract in front of you and go, sign here, please.
Yeah.
Here are 6 pages. And you're like, I don't know what I'm signing, but okay, I just want to do this. So I think it's really, really important to build this from the inside out. Because otherwise what's going to happen is, and I can foresee this coming, is some big agency going, let's open up a department that looks after spoken word artists, like they did for influencers. But then again, because spoken word is such a specific thing, it will very much overlook anything that it's about.
Well, yeah, because like we're in that awkward space now where like I know from talking to people and looking into myself things of like a lot of poets I know when looking at whether it's looking at fees or that kind of stuff, etc., they are looking at things like, I think this is, was it the Society of Authors or whatever, like there are things for like writers groups have more unions as pure writers, and obviously it's then it goes to the weird distinction of like where is that poet versus spoken word thing, and where is that line between writer and performer and all that stuff, because like poet going into school doesn't necessarily have to be a spoken word poet, so when you're looking at which line are you looking at kind of thing, and it is that thing of like there are things in place, and I think we've been muddling through using that, and like because some of it does overlap, etc. There are so many poets. I mean, like there's so many poets that we know from performing that are going to have books out and are having books out. And it's that thing of like, did I mean you have to look at the writer's thing or the spoken word thing? Is there an overlap? And again, I think that's the thing about like so many things can be overlap. Like and starting something new, I'm assuming like it doesn't mean we're going to be completely different from the Society of Authors kind of thing. Like, it's like cool, that's a valid thing. So I'm going to put it in here as well. But also for performing, if you're performing this set amount, probably look to pay around this price kind of thing.
It's very, very much a discipline that has a lot of crossovers.
Yes.
And I think, again, requires knowledge of it. And requires also an understanding of how much goes into it. Because I think that's the biggest thing that I'm facing with brands at the moment when I speak to them about poets is a lot of the time the fees that they propose are ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculously low. And it's because they don't understand the process.
Yeah.
It's because if you're not from that world, you think, oh, this is 3 minutes.
Yeah. Like,
I will pay you for 3 minutes. No, that's 2 weeks of writing.
Yeah.
A month of sort of rehearsing it to be perfect, and 6 years of doing this to be able to bring you that energy.
Like I very recently was doing a job for the NBA. They asked me to do some like essentially copywriting for them, not strictly a poem, but they know me as a poet. I have done some writing for them in the past. I mean, how I worked vaguely with them for the past 8 or 9 years as a video editor. They also knew, but you do some poetry stuff as well. Let's get you some writing on. Like now that I've got my freelance stuff, they're asking like in trying to figure out what your day rate is. Just like I don't. Part of it was I don't know because my day rate changes depending on like who's asking, where's the money coming from. Like I know, and this is the awkward thing of poets as well. Of like, I always jokingly say if it's an arts council thing, my day rate is this much because you will have actual money kind of thing. Whereas if it's the friend's job kind of thing, it's like I would say this much, but I know I'm flexible. I know that I can make things work. I'm not going to be out of pocket. But like when I was working in the NBA, it's like my head of like, you asked me to do a like 3 1-minute scripts, which in terms of the final output is not going to be long, but writing that 1-minute script is going to take me, let's say that minute, that long, etc., blah, blah, blah. And it's like also, because like, how many days do we want you for as well? And it's like, it almost felt weird saying like, cool, book me for 3 days to do 3 1-minute scripts kind of thing. Which like that in my head, even someone who does it is a little bit like, I do not need a whole day to write a 1-minute script, but you do, because it's partly research, it's partly writing, it's back and forth, it's any feedback, it's any just going over things of like, here is that draft.
Oh, that's another thing.
And I'm going to think over it and
Please, whoever is out there, pre-approve how many times or how many rounds
of feedback, yes,
you're okay with, because otherwise you will go back and forth endlessly.
Weird, like
Never, not do that.
Weird.
It's
it's rounds of feedback. It's making sure like day rates of like if you're hiring me, you are hiring me for the day. Even if I give you something by lunchtime, it's a day rate, and I've had to book out the whole day for you. So you're paying me for the whole day, even if you get the thing early.
It's like it's a day that you can't do something else.
Exactly. And with that as well, like, even if like in that same thing about putting some of your contracts, obviously depends on what the gig is, etc. But like whether it's cancellation fees or holding fees of like, I've had to keep that day free. That I need something for that, because if someone else also asks me to do a thing, I've already held it for you, so I can't do something else yet. So if that doesn't come through, I need something back from that, because I've now been lost some work. So something has to come in and I think the first time I ever got a cancellation fee, I was both like, it was very much the imposter syndrome thing of like, someone paid me money for something I didn't do, but I was available and ready and prepared for that and did all the work before that.
Yeah.
Like, that first time doing it was just like, oh, this is weird. Yeah. But like, as we're kind of wrapping up.
Doesn't it feel amazing though when you, afterwards, when you go, I advocated for myself.
I mean, hell, like with all the stuff I'm doing nowadays, it's like people, again, I've got it down to a place where it feels very easy for me to do. But that's like, because I've put in the work beforehand to make it easy for me to do. Like, I know how to use my camera stuff, so I can just set it up in an hour kind of thing, and it's good to go.
But how funny, this is actually an interesting point. How funny is it? I mean, this goes not just for the creative industries, but how funny is it that the better you are at doing something, the easier it looks, so the less work it looks like. And I'm like, no. The reason why I can do this in maybe half the amount of time someone else can do it is because I've been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100% a lot of that.
It's like, that's not because it's easier for me. It's actually an interesting part. It's like, I get this a lot from people is, oh, but you having these meetings and talking to people is so easy for you because you're extroverted. I'm actually not by nature an extroverted person.
Yeah.
I love being on my own. I prefer being on my own, but I have taught myself meticulously how to be social when I need to be. That is a lot of labor. Yeah. And even getting to a point where you, especially if you're someone that can't read people, being able to go into a room and have these conversations again and again and again, spend evenings running an event where you are surrounded by people that are bombarding you with questions. It takes a lot out of me to do that, and I think it is always quite comical to me when people go, but it's just easy for you. In what world? So yeah, I think it takes a lot of work to make something look easy.
Weird. I mean, it's the thing of like, so much of it is the unseen stuff. And like with all the stuff I'm doing, like one of the biggest unseen things that I do, which is so, again, I'm not saying it's a difficult thing. One of the most overlooked things is like just the admin of keeping footage and storage, etc., is a thing that, again, no one teaches you, but you kind of just accept that you have to do in that thing. And like someone's got to, like, and like especially going forward as well, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm kind of getting to that thing of like, I'm going to start putting things in place of like, how long do I keep footage for? Because I filmed your thing, I've given it to you, therefore part of it is done. But I also know some people will come back 6 months later like, have you still got that video? And it's like, I gave it to you so I don't have to, like, you're lucky that I've kept it. I didn't need to keep it.
Also,
I need to put it in. Yeah. And like the more and more hard drives you're getting, it's like, I will get to it. Like, and like I
this
know. This
hard drive was £200.
Oh, sorry. So I have invested in, I can show you after this thing, but I've got 5 22 terabyte hard drives now. And I'm very aware, a lot of that is for me, and like I'm filming all of processes, I'm filming all of one night slams, etc. And like I like having an archive of all that stuff, and I think there's definitely something nice about having an archive. So I'm not asking anyone to pay for that because that's a me thing. But I'm also aware that it's like, especially something like poetry, like there isn't an archive anywhere of poetry things, so I don't want to delete things, but I also can't keep it because it's going to cost me too much money to keep it. So I need to, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, as we kind of wrap up this Let's Talk About section, like, looking into the future for you, obviously you've got the spoken word agency, looking to, like, set up essentially, like, I guess, summing up, like, what are the final goals of future things? You've already kind of touched on a few of them, but, like, what does the future look like for this agency? You've also talked about bringing other people in, etc. and brands. Like, do you have, like, any, like, is it like, oh, there are specific brands or poets in mind, or just in general, like, I just want this to be a thing?
I have a lot of goals in life general, you know. I'm a very ambitious person. I'm 24 now, so I've got 5.5 more years to make it until 30 under 30, you know. Forbes magazine.
That's the goal.
Keep watching.
Fair. Respect.
No, but I mean, no. It's more about, I really, really want to build something for creatives.
Yes.
And I don't mean this in like, you know, I don't see myself as a martyr, like, oh my God, you know, I'm not bloody Robin Hood. But it is really important to me that I build this with the creatives. I really want people to be able to, I mean, essentially do this full time.
Yeah.
This is the goal, you know. I want poets, and also I want people to feel supported on a 360 basis. This is a poetry agency, but at the end of the day, if someone tells me I want to write a script, or I'm really into dancing, and I'd love to choreograph something, why would I not help you with that?
Well, I guess also on this for you, then, like, with trying to make this thing, like, you mentioned the brand side of things, but like, with the scene as it is, obviously, like, how much of it is there needs to be more things in the scene, etc. Because I think as well, so many poets, especially that I know that have come through it, get to that point where like I've done all I can on the poetry scene. So well, not because of that, but like I know people that have done a lot in poetry, then go do music full time, then go do theatre full time, etc.
Yeah.
What do you think there needs to be more things on the scene for this spoken word?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are. I mean, that's the interesting bit. There are quite a lot of events, but not all of them are good. And also, I think it's also making other events realize that there's a way of making it cross-sectional.
Yeah.
Like, just because you are a comedy night, or just because you are a theatre night, or just because you're a music night, why would you not make it a crossover? It's the same way that the ultimate goal as well is, because obviously I represent some amazing directors and photographers at Octopus. I really, which, you know, is my main job. That's what I do full time. And I absolutely adore it. What I would love is to ultimately almost sort of create projects with both of them combined. Yeah. You know, I would love to create some short films or even feature-length things based on poems. I would love to do some amazing, and I mean, we're already doing that, you know, photo shoots with amazing photographers, and being able to shoot the creative process of writing a book or performing, or, you know, it's for me, again, the most amount of joy I get ever is when I get to connect the right people. I love connecting the good eggs. So ultimately, the goal is to do that as much as possible for as long as possible. And I'm not precious about how exactly that's going to look. I'm surely going to change a lot as a person and grow. I hope so, you know. So are creatives, so is the creative industry. I would love to work with more actors again. You know, I do miss that a lot as well. And I mean, a lot of my friends are actors. I really want to, and I mean, I'm a producer as well. I wrapped on a documentary not long ago. So I definitely want to go more into the film side and do more of that. I'm working on a couple of shorts at the moment, you know. So again, I love being a creative facilitator. I don't care what kind of creative. I just want creative people to be able to create and make work and be able to live off of that.
Nice. That's a beautiful way to end that section now. And now from all that seriousness, we're going to go into some complete randomness.
Let's do some random things.
As we're going to go into slow fire questions.
Oh my God.
So for slow fire questions, I have a list of 100 questions. Some are creative related, some are not. These are just dumb, random questions. Basically, I used to do these as a quick fire question thing. So I'd give poets like 3 minutes answer as many as you can, which was a fun little bit, but also like, no, some of these answers deserve more time. So we're going to give them more time now.
I'll try and be brief, which is something I'm not very good at.
No, you're fine. I'm saying, like, I often aim for like let's do 5 of these at random, so we'll see how we go for time, etc. So yeah, can you give me a random number in between 1 and 100, please?
17.
Then we're going to start off with, what do you prefer, comedy or drama?
Drama, 100%. Again, goes with being neurodivergent. I do not get sarcasm at all. I love the concept of it.
Fair.
Genuinely, I love it. For anyone out there who's really sarcastic, I love you, but I don't understand you. And this is why I find a lot of comedy quite hard. I also am just not a very funny person. I'm situationally funny.
Fair.
But I can't make jokes. And therefore, maybe I think subconsciously out of spite, I'm like, how dare you be able to make jokes? No, I'm kidding. I appreciate comedy a lot, but I love drama as in the genre, not drama. I am a very, very big fan of literature, obviously, as I said. I wrote my entire thesis at university on 18th century literature and poetry. I'm a big fan of period dramas in written form and video form, so motion form. So I live and breathe it. Absolutely, drama all the way.
Nice. Give me another number, please.
7.
Then we're going to go for, who is your favourite poet? Pick one.
Oh my gosh. That's a very tough question. 1?
Yeah. I will allow you a list of, let's say, top 3.
Of all time?
Favourite poet. You can decide if it's all time or currently or whatever.
Oh my God, that's
I know which is why I like answering. But like, so honestly, so part of why I asked this question is because I think when you ask people favourite musician, they can often, not easily, but they're more easy to find an answer for that one. Favourite actor, again, more easy to find that one. Favourite poet, they struggle a lot more.
Well, you know why?
I mean, I'm assuming because we know poets.
Well, I'm not even thinking about the people I know personally, but I've obviously studied it a lot. I'm thinking sort of contemporary. I'm thinking 18th century. I'm thinking it's a very difficult question to answer because also it's completely dependent on my mood and it also changes all the time.
Yeah.
You know, probably on a weekly basis, or sometimes. I mean, I don't know about you, but I will really appreciate someone's work and then I'll find something out about them and I'm like, I hate you as a person.
Oh, 100%.
I cannot separate the art from the artist.
It's also as well, I know, and like, again, as much as I'm answering this as a question, I'm also very aware there's things of like, favourite poet, cool, for what? If I want a poet to make me happy, I go this way. If I want someone to make me sad, I'm like, poet, in the same way of like, this is my favourite song for when I'm in a good mood. When I'm in a bad mood, I don't need to listen to that song. That is not the song for it, so.
But also, genuinely, like, I don't know how people do this, but if I see a piece of work, be it a poem, a performance of any kind, a painting, a video, a photograph, I could love that work, but for me, the context matters.
Oh yeah.
If I then find out that was shot by someone really, really bad,
Yeah.
or if I realize that the context of it is really creepy, I cannot no longer look at that work in the way that I did before. So that happens to me a lot. I mean, a lot with music, a lot with film, because a lot of filmmakers are creeps.
Like,
a lot of musicians are assholes. So it's very difficult.
my go-to one for that is The Lost Prophets. When I was growing up, I really liked The Lost Prophets. And then it's like, oh, no, can't listen to them ever again.
It's really heartbreaking.
It's
really heartbreaking.
No, I like their songs. They were that right kind of indie rocky emo. So no, this is... It's like, no more. I have never listened to...
It's really, like, again, it's actually not for lack of trying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I sometimes really go, you know what, just take it for what it is. Like, just ignore everything you know about this person. No. I can't do that.
It's also a very, like, and so much of it is contextual song, that thing of, like, because one of the things I struggle with internally, things like, I have, like, in my head, I've got a hard line of, like, I cut them out, I'm done now. But there'll be, like, that one song and it's like, no, but that one is a banger. That kind of stays kind of thing. And, like, so... weird one on this, and this is not because I think it's a good thing, but like, I don't listen to R. Kelly anymore. Don't do R. Kelly stuff. But if you, once a year probably, I will listen to Trapped in a Closet again, because it's so dumb. And it's like, no, R. Kelly is awful, but this is something about this whole story that, like, I'm always into this, and I will always do something for me, even if R. Kelly is the worst human being ever, kind of thing of like, no, but Trapped in a Closet has a context of being something so insane, almost separate from R. Kelly, that I can let that slide. I'm not listening to Ignition, but I will listen to that kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean...
Who is this week's favourite poet then?
Actually, this week, I mean, I'm going to actually have to pick someone that is very much someone I represent and someone I really, really think is going to be the next best thing. Sam Brown. I think Sam Brown is bloody fantastic. I think he brings something new. Not only because he's such a great performer, but because I think he's one of the first men that I've seen perform who is so honest about himself. And I mean, not in this holier than thou way of I'm above all of this. No, in a very much way of like, I've been there. I've done bad things, or I've behaved in like this in the past, or, you know, and I've learned from that. And I think he's someone that is an incredibly important voice for young people and for young boys and young men, and someone I would love to get to speak on more panels and to more teenagers, because he's very much in that in-between age group of, like, you know, not a teenager anymore, but very much young adult. And was very much raised with that movement of, as he says in a lot of his poetry, Andrew Tate's and all of that, and the Jordan Petersons of the world. By the way, if you're watching, fuck you, Jordan Peterson. I'm not going to get a hate train. No, I just don't, you know, I just really don't like the man. But I just think he's someone who's very, very, very good at finding a fine balance between intensity and drama, but also honesty, and almost has a slightly romantic vibe to it, which I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think there's something very, very sweet about all of it. Because you can tell he cares. You can tell that even though he is performing and he very much has this actor persona on stage, you know, which is quite funny because as a person he's quite shy or reserved. Even though there is very much this performance aspect, you can tell that it comes from a very genuine place. And I think that's at the core of poetry, right? It's the core of spoken word poetry, especially. So he's very much someone that, you know, I'm very excited about. There's obviously a lot more people.
Oh, yeah.
But I think this week, it's probably Sam.
Nice. Give me another number, please.
Another number. Between
1 and 100.
Oh my God. 43.
Then we're going to go for, are men trash?
No. I don't think men are trash. I think men get away with too much. I think men are given too much power. But do I think men are trash, point blank? No. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think actually a lot of the issue that we're facing at the moment is very much this plain statement of men are trash, because it doesn't really, first of all, it doesn't encapsulate all the evil that men do, because trash is almost this diminutive thing of like, you know, no. It almost takes away the agency that they have. It's like, it's because you know what a lot of people say when men do something really bad, it's like they can't help themselves. No.
You can help yourself.
You can help yourself. You're not an animal. Like, you are a human being with a brain. You can help yourself. You're choosing to do this. So no, it's not just, oh, men are trash, bless them. You know, like, no. But do I think that we need to be a lot more strict about how we go against certain behaviors? Yes. Do I think we need to have a lot more conversations about it that are nuanced? Yes. Because it's not black and white. Do I think that men and young men, especially, developing in a certain way is a result of the system, which is not just upheld by men, by the way. Upheld by women too. No, we need to have those conversations, and it's not going to change until everybody gets involved. So,
it's always been, so it's my thing, especially of late, where the thing of like, especially with the whole phrasing, like, not all men, etc. The thing of like, I think we all kind of understand, no, it is not all men, but also it's been too many men that I will always, like, people always be apprehensive around the next man, etc. Not saying that all men are awful, evil, doing all these things, but at the same time, there is a reputation, there is a system, there is a society in place that has kept so many men, allowed so many men to be these awful people that, like, cool, we're not saying you all are trash, we're not saying you all are awful people, but enough men have been awful people that I'll be on my guard, / wanting things to change, etc. Doesn't mean you specific man are awful, but I'm not gonna, it doesn't mean I'm gonna be like, cool, come in, we're fine, we're cool, straight away. Like, why?
Am I suspicious of men? Yes. Of course. As I should be. You know? And the funny bit is men are also suspicious of other men. So it's not something that's exclusive to women. You know, it's like, I love when people make this argument of, it's like, men, you know, experience violence too. I'm like, yes, but by other men mostly.
Who is causing the violence there?
You know, it's mostly, overwhelmingly, other men. And again, it will only change when we start actually, when men start having conversations with other men.
Well, when men are calling out other men and when the punishments are actually there as well. Like, it shouldn't just be punishment. Again, I guess a whole different tangent of like...
There's some consequences, really.
Well, like, I don't like... Again, I'm not a police person. I don't like the police, etc. And I don't think punishment should be the only deterrent kind of thing. But also, if we got use punishment as a deterrent. Like, if you do something bad, have consequences for your actions. And with that not really being a thing, it's like, well, of course people are going to do it if they're not going to get away with it. But yes, let's do 2 more. Sure, why not? Give me another number, please.
61.
Cool. Planes or trains?
Trains.
Ooh.
All the way. Trains. Okay. Do you want to know why?
Go for it.
For multiple reasons, actually. First of all, I don't like sitting next to people. I love sitting by myself, and that is something that's, unless you fly on a private jet, which I have never done, and likely never will. Unless, you know, someone out there wants to stick me in the private jet. I like having my own little seat.
Yes.
I am someone who actually quite enjoys being, like, I like the rhythm of being on a train. I find flying quite stressful. I actually also really, really enjoy going places by train because I think it's a lot less stressful. A lot of the time, and again, I grew up in mainland Europe, you know, you can get basically anywhere by train. I think obviously it's a lot better for the environment. She says, as she just said, private jet twice. But, you know, it is so much better for the environment. And also, you know, I'm lucky that I grew up in Germany, and the train system, even though the trains are always delayed, we do have quite a good train system that maps across all of Germany, and you can get basically anywhere. So, and it's nice because you can, you know, I have a lot of family in Paris. I can take the Eurostar. It's great. Yeah. I can go from King's Cross straight into Paris. Yeah. I don't have to worry about being at the airport 2 hours beforehand, or weigh my luggage or whatever. So, very much team train. The only thing that I don't like about trains, actually not the only thing, the two things I don't like about trains. One, don't know why the food on trains is always fucking disgusting. Also really bad vegan options. Yeah. Which is just like... Secondly, I get really freaked out by the fact that obviously the trains stop regularly. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm the only person that gets freaked out about this, but, you know, you have luggage. Yeah. And I really find it quite creepy that you have luggage that's usually next to the exit. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, people are going in and out of this train. Someone's going to steal my bag or unknowingly take my bag.
I've been traveling with my camera gear a little bit more now, obviously, and things of like, one, it's heavy. I would hear if you're taking that, but at the same time, but like especially when you're booking via like Trainline, whatever, you can pick like where your seats are kind of vaguely. It's like I'll always be near the luggage rack so I can keep an eye on my shit because it's like so. It's never happened, but
it could.
There's just that safety of like I will feel a lot better if it's in my eyesight. Like I have not heard of anyone who had their like. I'm assuming it's happened to someone somewhere, but like none of my friends have told me about like, oh, this one time
on
someone
this episode of things that will most likely never happen to you, but could.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. No. That's one thing I'm a bit freaked out about. But other than that,
I mean, to be again, is a thing of like, even planes. Like, it hasn't happened to me yet, but like the amount of people that lose their luggage on planes is like as much as trains makes me anxious.
Happened. Well, it's somewhat happened to me. I flew from London to Frankfurt. I mean, I do it quite regularly because that's where my family lives. And luckily, I always put my phone number on my suitcase.
Nice.
And I got a call. I got off the plane and then I was waiting for my luggage and I waited and nothing arrived. And I was like, fuck. And I got a call about an hour after we landed from this person that was presumably working with the company, the airline company. Airline? Yeah. The air company. The airline being like, hey, we've got your suitcase. It's still in London. We're sending it on a different plane.
Fair.
And we will send a car to drop it off. And I was like, okay. And I mean, in this case, it was fine because first of all, it was only a couple of hours of delay. Also, I was going home to my parents' house.
Yeah.
I have 3 sisters, 1 brother, who has exquisite taste. So there were enough clothes lying around.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Right? But I do really feel for people that I have friends who've traveled to like, you know, Hong Kong or Bali and have been stranded without their luggage. No, that would stress me out.
My go-to thing now for traveling is always been whatever is in my suitcase is stuff that, again, don't want to lose it, but like if it goes, it would be fucking annoying. But I can manage.
Yeah.
Whether it's in my backpack is I've got a change of clothes in my backpack. I've got my laptop. I've got the important things in my backpack. So
of course.
Worst case scenario, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be put in that scenario, but I can get 100%. By. Cool. Let's do one last question to wrap it all up.
Okay.
What number do you want?
Let's go high. Let's do 93.
93. What is your goal for next year?
Oh my God, I have so many. My goal for next year. You know what? I have a very long list of goals. But honestly, not to sound too sort of woo-woo about it.
Go.
But I just really, really want to keep being really happy. and balanced.
Yeah.
I have really, really started prioritizing just doing things that I find enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot more time recently just regulating myself in terms of like, just giving myself the time when I'm not working to just not have to socialize if I don't want to.
Yeah.
To really work out, to read. I want to travel more. That's something I do for work, but I don't do enough to places that I really want to see. And I just want to keep building, myself as an agent in this industry for directors, photographers, poets. I think there is so much shit going on in the world right now. I think more than ever, it is really, really important to keep your friends close. And especially because we are in an industry that feels very isolating and that pins us all against each other, I think it's really important to always, always remind yourself why you're doing it. Like genuinely, at the core, why you got into it. And whatever that reason might be. I'm not precious about your reason. If it's to become famous, do your thing. But it's really important to really, really remember why you're doing it all for, because it is not an easy industry to be in. I will never romanticize it. It is hard, whatever side you're on, agent, creative, whatever. And it's important to remind yourself why you're doing it. And it's important to surround yourself with people that are good for you. And it's also important to learn to say no and to cut the people out that aren't good for you, because they will impact you. Even if you tell yourself they won't, they will. And I am very, very excited for the future. And I think that's a really, really telling thing, to be excited for the future. I'm not scared of it anymore. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to go, but I'm excited to find out. I'm excited to have more conversations like this and to keep building and to keep being proven wrong. And to just develop myself as a person and as an agent, as a creative, and to keep helping people.
Nice. I think, especially over the last 3 or so years now, but just in general, like, so much of my life has been things that I wasn't planning on doing, things that just fell into my lap, that's kind of diminished them a little bit, but like things that I wasn't gearing towards. Like I got into my full-time job initially when I wasn't even looking for a job, and it ended up being something I was in for 11 years. And that was like, it clicked and went, and I wasn't looking for it. I got into poetry by accident. I got into all my camera stuff by accident. It's like, this was not things that like, I'm going to be this person. It's all just kind of fell and worked out well. And I think it's a nice way of viewing the world of like, fuck it, I want to be happy. Like, yes, I've got some internal goals of like, that would be nice to do. That'd be nice to do. But ultimately, like, fuck it, as long as I'm happy next year, I don't give a shit kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's at the end of the day, again, like, there's so many milestones, arbitrary goals you can set. At the end of the day, it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen anyways. That's the one thing I've learned in life. Things do not happen, or very seldom happen the way that you expect them to. And good things come your way when you don't expect them to.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not to say that, you should work hard and have goals in mind. By all means do. It's important to keep you going. But don't worry too much about it. Like, genuinely, I think at the end of the day, and it's funny coming out of my mouth because I do, always hammer home, like, work hard, like, you can do this. But also, at the end of the day, it's not that deep. Yeah. We're all going to be dead at some point. People are not going to remember you. It's like, you get, for all I know, for all I'm certain of, is you probably get one shot at this, Fucking have fun doing it. Yeah. Have so much fun doing it. and like read all of the books, kiss all of the strangers, do all of the jobs, and like fuck up as much as you can, and just like allow yourself to live boldly and brightly. Don't make yourself small. Like, and just, yeah, allow yourself to be a person. Like, you're not a machine. You've been given this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be alive. Be kind to other people. Don't make their lives worse. You know, you never know what people are going through. It takes nothing to be a kind person.
Yes.
And just don't be a dick.
And on that lovely note, this is coming to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this, Emy. Cool. If people want to find you online, where can they find you?
Yes. So you can find me on my Instagram, just Emy, so Emy.Dentler. That's Dentler. You can find me on the Octopus Inc. websites, which is obviously where I look after the directors and photographers. You can find me on Mother Mayhem Managements on Instagram, and obviously once the website is live, you'll find me there as well. And you can find me obviously on the Spit Nights feed. Obviously, as one of the event producers, you know, if you ever have any questions regarding Spit Nights, come my way. And yeah, if you ever see me running out and about, come say hi. I love meeting new people.
Nice. For as shy as they are, they can meet new people as well. Now, I have been Tyrone Lewis. This has been the Process Podcast. Again, if you're here, you know how to find Process. I'm not going to do links to Process. You're already here. But thank you for being here. And as I end every single thing, because it's now my favourite phrase now, love you all. Now fuck off. Bye.